First Canto, 8th chapter, 44th verse. Sutuvacha Pruta Yetham Kalapadai Parinuta Kilodayah Mandam Jahasa Vaikunto Mohayanniva Mayaya. Suta says, Prithaya by Kunti Maran. Prutha Itham Kalapadai. So, Parinutaha. She worshipped Lord by the chosen words. Akhila Udayaha. She sang the glories. She glorified Lord. Mandam, Lord smiled. Jahasa. Lord gave a mild smile. Vaikuntha, the Lord. Mohayan, captivating. He captivated everyone. Captivated Kunti Maharani by his mild smile. And she composed beautiful prayers, a universal prayer by the choicest words. So in this way, Lord's name is also known as Uttama Shloka, one who is glorified by the choicest words, or whatever words you use for Krishna becomes the Uttama Shloka. Okay, Krishna Priya Mataji.
Hare Krishna Dandapurana Mataji. Rutu Yetham Kalapade Parinuta Kilodayaha Mandam Jahasa Vaikunto Mohayanniva Mayaya. Translation and purport by Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Suta Goswami said, the Lord, thus hearing the prayers of Kunti Devi, composed in choice words for his glorification, mildly smiled. The smile was as enchanting as his majestic power. Purport. Anything that is enchanting in the world is said to be a representation of the Lord. The conditioned souls who are engaged in trying to lord it over the material world are also enchanting by his mystic powers. But his devotees are enchanted in a different mystic powers. Mystic powers. But his devotees are enchanted in a different way by the glories of the Lord, and his merciful blessings are upon them. His energy is displayed in different ways. As electrical energy works in manifold capacities, Srimati Kunti Devi has prayed to the Lord just to ununicate a fragment of his glories. All his devotees worship him in that way, by chosen words, and therefore the Lord is known as Uttama Shloka. No amount of chosen word is sufficient to enumerate the Lord's glory. And yet, he is satisfied by such prayers as the Father is satisfied even by the broken linguistic attempts of the growing child. The Lord Maya is used both in the sense of delusion and mercy. Here in the word Maya is used in the sense of the Lord's mercy upon Kunti Devi. Hare Krishna.
It is delusion, illusion, delusion. What is the meaning of delusion? Deeper illusion is known as delusion. Okay. Tam badham ityupamantrya pravishya gajasayavam striyascha sapuram yasyan premna ragya nivaritaha. Tam badham ityupamantrya pravishya gajasayam sahavayam Sriyascha Sapuram Yasyan Premna Ragya Nivaritaha. So Badham accepted. Upa Mantra subsequently informed all those cities Pravishya entering Gajasahavayam, the palace of Hastinapur, Striya Cha, other ladies, Swapuram, own residence, Yasyan, while starting for Premna with love, Ragya, by the king, Nivaritaha, stopped. So Lord accepted the words of Vaibhav. Vaibhav means accepted. The words of Kunti Maharani. So in this way, Lord subsequently informed Upamantriha, other ladies, Striyacha, of his departure by entering the palace of Hastinapur. But upon preparing to leave, he was stopped by Yudhishthir, who implored him lovingly. Now, Lord actually started, but then again Yudhishthir Maharaj stops him. So in this way, Lord accepted the prayers, no doubt, but Lord was to start. He informed the other ladies he was to stop, but again Yudhishthir Maharaj stopped him. And that too with love. Ashok Anija Prabhu, read.
Hare Krishna Mataji, Dandavat Pranam. ताम्बाढ्यं मित्युपामन्त्रे परविश्य गजसावयं स्त्रियश्च सवपुरं यास्यन् प्रेम्णा राज्ञा निवारिताः. Translation and purport by Srila Prabhupada. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Thus accepting the prayers of Shrimati Kunti Devi, the Lord subsequently informed other ladies of his departure by entering the palace of Hastinapur. But upon preparing to leave, he was stopped by King Yudhishthira, who implored him lovingly. Purport. No one could make Lord Krishna stay at Hastinapur when he decided to start for Dwarka. But the simple request of King Yudhishthira that the Lord remain there for a few days more was immediately effective. This signifies that the power of King Yudhishthira was loving affection, which the Lord could not deny. The Almighty God is thus conquered only by loving service and nothing else. He is fully dependent in all his dealings. He is fully independent in all his dealings, but he voluntarily accepts obligations by the loving affection of his pure devotees. Hare Krishna.
Vyasadhyai Ishvare Yagyai Vishnenadbhuta Skarmana Prabodhito Pitihasainam Vidyuta Sucharpitaha Vyasadhyai Ishvare Yagyai Krishnenadbhuta Karmana Prabodhito Pitihasairna Prabodhito Pitihasair Na Budhyata Shucharpita. Vyasa Adi, by great sages headed by Vyasa. Ishvara, the Almighty God. Iha, by the will of. Gehi, by the learned. Krishnena, by Krishna himself. Adbhuta Karmana, by one who performs all superhuman work. Prabodhita, being solaced. Api, alone. Itihasai, by evidences, by histories. Not. Abodhyata, satisfied. Sucharpita, stressed. So King Yudhishthir, he was very much aggrieved, was very much distressed. And then he could not be satisfied by even giving evidences, itihasa. He could not be solaced, prabodhitaha, he could not be solaced. Great sages like Vyasa, everybody instructed. To such an extent, even Lord instructed. Still, the Lord himself, the performer of superhuman feats, in spite of Lord giving instruction, Vyasa giving instruction, he could not be solaced because he saw the death of so many. What Arjuna had the doubts and Arjuna was having the confusion before Bhagavad Gita, before Krishna gives instructions, the same doubts and the same concern was there in the heart of Yudhishthira after the war. So everybody solaced him, Vyasa, Krishna himself, but he could not be satisfied. That is how Bhishma Pitamaha's instruction will start. Next chapter. It is only by Bhishma Pitamaha that Yudhishthira Maharaj could be solaced. Okay, Narayana, read.
व्यासाद्यैरीश्वरेहाज्ञै कृष्णेनाद्भुतकर्मणा प्रबोधितोऽपितिहासै नाबुध्यत सुचार्पितः. Translation and purport by Srila Prabhupada. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. King Yudhishthir, who was much aggrieved, could not be convinced, despite instructions by great sages headed by Vyasa and the Lord Krishna himself, the performer of superhuman feats, and despite all historical evidences. Purport: the pious King Yudhishthir was mortified because of the mass massacre of human beings in the battle of Kurukshetra, especially on his account. Duryodhana was there on the throne and he was doing well in his administration, and in one sense there was no need of fighting. But on the principle of justice, Yudhishthir was to replace him. The whole clique of politics centered around this point, and all the kings and residents of the whole world became involved in this fight between the rival brothers. Lord Krishna was also there on the side of King Yudhishthir. It is said in Mahabharata, Adi Parva 20, that 6.4 million men were killed in the 18 days of the battle of Kurukshetra, and some hundreds of thousands were missing. Practically, this was the greatest battle in the world within 5,000 years. This mass killing simply to enthrone Maharaj Yudhishthir was too mortifying, so he tried to be convinced with evidences from histories by great sages like Vyasa and the Lord himself that the fight was just because the cause was just. But Yudhishthir Maharaj would not be satisfied, even though he was instructed by the greatest personalities of the time. Krishna is designated herein as the performer of superhuman actions, Adbhuta Karmana. But in this particular instance, neither he nor Vyasa could convince King Yudhishthir. Does it mean that he failed to be a superhuman actor? No, certainly not. The interpretation is that the Lord as Ishvara or the super soul in the heart of both King Yudhishthir and Vyasa performed still more superhuman action because the Lord desired it. As super soul of King Yudhishthir, he did not allow the king to be convinced by the words of Vyasa and others, including himself, because he desired that the king hear instructions from the dying Bhishma Dev, who was another great devotee of the Lord. The Lord wanted that at the last stage of his material existence, the great warrior Bhishma Dev see him personally and see his beloved grandchildren, King Yudhishthir, etc., now situated on the throne and thus pass away very peacefully. Bhishma Dev was not at all satisfied to fight against the Pandavas, who were his beloved fatherless grandchildren. But the Kshatriyas are also very stern people, and therefore he was obliged to take the side of Duryodhan because he was maintained at the expense of Duryodhan. Besides this, the Lord also desired that King Yudhishthir be pacified by the words of Bhishma Dev so that the world could see that Bhishma Dev excelled all in knowledge, including the Lord himself. Hare Krishna.
Hmm. 6,400 lakhs men were killed. After seeing such huge massacre, Yudhishthira Maharaj was completely in grief. No one's words were pacifying him. And that is again, Krishna did not want him to be pacified by the words of Vyasa and he himself. He wanted Bhishma Pitama to speak the knowledge. So in this way, Bhishma Pitama can see his grandchildren. And then Bhishma Pitama can also have the darshan of Lord at the time of quitting the body. So Lord, when Lord plans something, there's a deeper meaning to it. And various other leelas also happen. When one leela happens, along with that other leelas also happen. Aharaja dharmasutash chintayan suhadam vadam prakrutenatmana vipra snehamohavasham katah. Aharaja dharmasutash chintayan suhadam vadam prakrutenatmana vipra snehamohavasham katah. Yudhishthira Maharaj, Dharma Sutaha, the son of Dharma, Chintayan, thinking of Sudam, of the friends, Vadam, killing, Prakrutena, by material conception only, Atmana, by the self, Vipra, O Brahmana, Sneha, affection, Moha, delusion, Vasham, being carried away, by Gataha, having gone. So King Yudhishthira, the son of Dharma, he was overwhelmed by the death of his friends. He was aggrieved just like a common materialistic man. O sages, thus deluded by affection, he began to speak the following words. So here, Suta Goswami is speaking. Suta Goswami is telling to the other sages. And why he was in grief? Because he was overly attached to his friends. So what is the destination of a materialistic person? Too much of attachment leads to attachments, compassion leads to overly attachment leads to lamentation. We have this in the second chapter of Bhagavad Gita, in the beginning itself. In the first verse, in the purport Prabhupada writes, materialistic attachment on the materialistic level leads to compassion. Compassion on the materialistic platform leads to attachment. And attachment leads to lamentation. Overly attachment, overly expectation, attachment, expectation, lamentation. So compassion on the wrong platform is only the cause of our degradation. Okay. Adi Satwiki Mataji, read.
Hare Krishna Mataji, Dandavat Pranam. Sloka 47. Aharaja dharma sutas chintayan suridang badam prakrite natmana vipraha sneho moha vasangataha. Translation and purport by Srila Prabhupada. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. King Yudhishthira, son of Dharma, overwhelmed by the death of his friends, was aggrieved just like a common materialistic man. O sages, thus deluded by affection, he began to speak. Purport: King Yudhishthira, though he was not expected to become aggrieved like a common man, became deluded by worldly affection by the will of the Lord. Within bracket, just as Arjuna was apparently deluded. A man who sees knows well that the living entity is neither the body nor the mind, but is transcendental to the material conception of life. The common man thinks of violence and non-violence in terms of the body, but that is a kind of delusion. Everyone is duty-bound according to one's occupational duties. A Kshatriya is bound to fight for the right cause, regardless of the opposite party in such discharge of duty. In such discharge of duty, one should not be disturbed by annihilation of the material body, which is only an external dress of the living soul. All this was perfectly known to Maharaja Yudhishthir, but by the will of the Lord, he became just like a common man, because there was another great idea behind this delusion. The king would be instructed by Bhishma as Arjuna was instructed by the Lord himself. Thank you, Mataji.
Mataji, you're muted.
Okay. Aho me pashyata jnanam vidhirudam duratmanah prakyasya dehasya bhavyo me kshihinirhataha. Aho me pashyata jnanam vidhirudam duratmanah prakyasya dehasya bhavyo भव्यो मे क्षीः निर्हतः. Aho, oh, may mind, Pashyata, just see Agyanam, ignorance, Vidhi in the heart. Rudham, situated in Duratmana, of the sinful. Prakyasya, meant for others. Eva certainly, Dehasya, of the body. Bhavya, many, may, by me, Akshohini, combination of military phalanxes. Hataha, killed. So Lord, here, King Yudhishthira says, oh my Lord, oh my Lord, here, oh my Lord is there. I am a very sinful person. Here he says, I am very sinful. Why? Just see my heart, which is full of ignorance. This body, which is ultimately meant for others, has killed many phalanxes of men. So, I am full of ignorance, ajnanam. I am situated in ignorance and I am simple person, duratmana. So, instead of giving good to others, what did I do? I just killed so many hataha, combination, Akshohini senas I have killed. So, I am the most simple person. And I am in ignorance, that is why I did all these things. So what is a solid phalanx that has been given by Srila Prabhupada? Okay, Vimla, read.
Hare Krishna Mataji. Aho me pashyata jnanam hridhirudham duratmanah parakya saiva dehasya bhavyo me akshonhini hartaha. Translation. King Yudhishthir said, O my Lord, I am the most sinful man. Just see my heart, which is full of ignorance. This body, which is ultimately meant for others, has killed many phalanxes of man. A solid phalanx of 21,870 chariots, 21,870 elephants, 1,09,650 infantry, and 65,600 cavalry is called an Akshani. And many Akshani were killed on the battlefield of Kurukshetra. Maharaja Yudhishthir, as the most pious king of the world, takes for himself the responsibility for killing such a huge number of living beings because the battle was fought to reinstate him on the throne. This body is, after all, meant for others. While there is life in the body, it is meant for the service of others, and when it is dead, it is meant to be eaten by dogs and jackals or maggots. He is sorry because for such a temporary body, such a huge massacre was committed.
So he is having the guilt.
And
He
he is
feels
right.
that I am.
He is right.
He feels.
Because for such a temporary body, such a huge massacre was committed. Oh my God.
Yeah. What happened? You read twice. Yeah, he's feeling very sorry that just because I should be reinstated as a king, such a big massacre. But that's what Krishna wants that. If Krishna desires, then such huge massacre will happen. That has happened. He desired, that is why it happened. Bala Dvijastuhan Mitra Pitru Bhratru Guru Druhaha Name Syan Nirayan Moksho Yapi Varsha Yuta Yute Yutai Bala Dvijastuhan Mitra Pitru Bhratrun Guru Druha Name Syan Nirayan Moksho Yapi Varsha Yuta Yutaihi Bala. I kill many boys which are the twice born, Suhad, well-wishers, Mitra, friends, Pitru, parents, Bhratru, brothers, Guru, preceptors, Druha, one who was killed, never. Memai, Sya, there shall be Nirayat from hell. Mokshaha, liberation, he certainly, Api, although Varsha, years, Ayuta, millions, Ayutahi, being aided. It says, I have killed so many friends, well-wishers, parents, preceptors, brothers, brahmanas, boys. So then he says, though I have Varsha, long years to live, but still I will not be relieved from hell that awaits me from for all these sins. Nirayat. Nirayat means one cannot stop me going to hell. So though I may live long, I may rule long, but still no one can stop me going to hell. And it happened also. They all had to go to hell. When they go for Swargarohan, for some time they had to go to hell. On the way they see Duryodhana in heaven. Because Duryodhana has done even pious activities also. For pious activity, a person gets heaven. For doing sinful activity, he has to undergo hell. But there was no torture for them because they are all Parshadas. Krishna just shows, if you do sinful activity, you have to pass through hell. If you do pious activity, you will get all the merits of the heaven. But then Shile Punya Marte Lokam Vishanti. Again, you have to come back. Okay. Once your pious merits are over, you have to come back. Kusum, read.
Hare Krishna Mataji, Dandavat Pranam. Bala Dvijashuhan Mitra Pitru Bhratir Guru Druha Name Syanirayan Moksho Yapi Varsha Yuta Yutai. Translation purported by Srila Prabhupada ki Jai. I have killed many boys, brahmanas, well-wishers, friends, parents, preceptors and brothers. Though I live millions of years, I will not be relieved from the hell that awaits me for all these sins. Purport: whenever there is a war, there is certainly a massacre of many innocent living beings, such as boys, brahmanas, and women, whose killing is considered to be the greatest of sins. They are all innocent creatures, and in all circumstances, killing of them is forbidden in the scriptures. Maharaja Yudhishthira was aware of these mass killings. Similarly, they were with friends, parents, and preceptors also on both sides, and all of them were killed. It was simply horrible for him to think of such killing, and therefore he was thinking of residing in hell for millions and billions of years. Hare Krishna.
Naino Ragya Praja Bhartu Dharmayuddhe Vado Dvisham Iti Mena Tu Bodhaya Kalpate Shasanam Vachaha. Naino Ragya, no, never. In her sins, Ragya of the king, Praja Vartu, of one who is engaged in the maintenance of the citizens, Dharma, by the right cause, Yuddhe, in the fight, Vadaha, killing, Visham, of enemies, Iti, all these, may for me, no, never, to but, Bodhaya, for satisfaction, kalpate. They are meant for administration, shasana, injunction, pacha, words of. So now he says, na, there is no sin for a king who kills for the right cause. Now your sages are speaking. There is no sin actually. Na ena, there is no sin. For whom Prajabartu, one who is maintaining the citizens, and how in the right cause, dharma. So, for this, he has to fight. Yuddhe, vadaha. So, all these enemies will be killed. So, actually, there is no sin. And then, na bodhaya, bodhaya, for satisfaction. And in this way, whatever administration is done, that is according to the injunctions. But this injunction is not applicable to me. Now he says, actually there is no sin. Now it's not the sages, it is Yudhishthira Maharaj speaking. For a king who is fighting for the right cause and who is maintaining the citizens, there is no sin. But somehow this is not applicable to me. Yudhishthira Maharaj is saying. Because he is not involved in the administration. If you are involved in the administration, if there is an attack, then one should say that he is fighting for the right cause. Anyhow, I am not in the administration. And then it was carried on very nicely by Duryodhana. Actually, Duryodhana used to rule the kingdom very nicely. Like how Ravana used to rule the kingdom very nicely. Give all facilities, all sensual facilities to the citizens. The citizens were very happy. But then dharma has to be established. Dharma is not dependent on how much materially progressed you are, how much spiritually you are progressing, or your progress that is seen by that is seen. So that is what is given. Yudhishthira Maharaj is thinking, I am not there in administration, just to, and Duryodhana was doing very good, just to make me king. I fought so much. Okay, Gajendra Sutta Prabhu, read.
नैनो राजन् प्रजापातु धर्मयुक्ते वधूभिषन् इति मे नातु बोधाय कल्पते शासनं च. Translation and purport by Sloka. There is no sin for a king who kills for the right cause, who is engaged in maintaining his citizen. But this injunction is not applicable to me. For Maharaj Yudhishthira thought that although he was not actually involved by the administration of the kingdom, which was being carried on well by Duryodhana, thought harm to the citizen. He caused the killing of so many living beings, only for his personal gain of the kingdom from the hands of Duryodhana. The killing was committed not in the course of administration, but for the sake of self-aggrandizement, and as such he thought himself responsible for all the sins. Hare Krishna.
So he considered himself responsible. Next. On top of that, he says, now see, Srinam Madhata Bandhunam Droho Yo Savithotitaha Karma Bhir Graha Medhiye Naham Kalpovya Ohitum Srinam Madhata Bandhunam have killed so many women. Might be by me, Hata Bandhunam. Of the friends who are killed, droha, enmity, yat, that, asau, all those, iha, herewith, uttita, has accrued karma-bhi by dint of work, graha-mediyai by persons engaged in material welfare, na never, aham I, kalpaha, can expect vyapohitum, undoing the same. So I have killed many friends of women. Okay. I have killed hatabandhunam, the friends of the women, and I have thus caused enmity to such an extent that it is not possible to undo it by material welfare activity. Kramediyahi. Na kalpaha. I cannot even expect that by doing some material prayashchita, I can come out of all this enmity. So much of enmity I have created. Okay. Gajendra Sutta Prabhu, read it.
श्रीणां मद्धात बन्धूनां द्रोहो ये साव इतो हिता कर्मभिर्ग्रहमेध्याहे नहं कल्पो व्यपोहितुम्. Translation. I have killed many friends of women and have thus caused enmity to such an extent that it is not possible to undo it by material welfare work. Purport. The Grahamedis are whose only business is to perform welfare work for the sake of material prosperity. Such material prosperity is sometimes hampered by sinful activities. While the materialist is sure to commit sin, even unintentionally, in the course of discharging material duties. To get relief from such sinful reaction, the Vedas prescribe several kinds of sacrifice. It is said in the Vedas that by performing the Ashwamedha or sacrifice, one can get relief from even Brahma Atya, killing of a Brahmana. Yudhishthir Maharaj performed this Ashwamedha by it thinks that even by performing such yajnas, it is not possible to get relief from the great sin committed. In war, either the husband or the brother or even the father or son sons go to fight, and then they are killed, fresh enmity is created. And thus a chain of action and reaction increases, which is not possible to be contracted even of thousands of Ashwamedha yajnas. The way of work karma is like that. It creates one action to another reaction simultaneously and thus increase the change of material activities, binding the performer in material world. In the Bhagavad Gita 9.27 and 28, the remedy is suggested that such action and reaction of the path of one can be checked only when work is done on behalf of the Supreme Lord. The battle of the was actually fought by the will of the Supreme Lord Sri Krishna, as it is evident from his version, and only by his will was Yudhishthira placed on the throne of Hastinapur. Therefore, actually, no sin whatsoever touched the Pandavas, who were only the order carriers of the Lord. For others who declare war out of personal interest, the whole responsibility lies on them. Hare Krishna.
Okay. So here, the Prabhupada says, the way of karma is like this, Prabhupada says. It creates one action, another action simultaneously. Thus, there is chain of actions. Bhagavad Gita also speaks about it. And all this can be checked if the work is done for Krishna. Yakyathat karmano netra lokoyam karma bandhana. But this war is fought by the will of Lord. That is why by the will of Lord only, Yudhishthira is placed on the throne. So actually no sin has affected Pandavas. They are just order carriers. Next. Yatha pankena pankamba suraya va surakrutam bhuta hatyam tathaivaikam nagyairmashtrum arhati. Yatha pankena pankamba, yatha as much as, pankena by the mud, pankabha water mixed with mud, surayava surakrutam by wine, sura ba either surakrutam impurity caused by the slight touch of wine, bhuta hatyam tathaivaikam killing of the animals, bhuta hatyam tatha like that, eva evaikam eva ekam certainly one, na yagyair mastrum arhati, na never yagyair by the prescribed sacrifices, mastrum to counteract, arhati is worthwhile. So as it is not possible to filter muddy water through mud or purify a stained pot from wine, it is not possible to counteract the killing of men by sacrificing animals. So even if I do so much of prayashta, there is no prayashchita, atonement. Atonement is done by performing sacrifice, and in the sacrifice in those days, animals is to be given. Ashwamedha said, anyhow, it's not going to counteract. For so much of sinful activities I've done, I've killed so many. Now, what is the use of even sacrificing an animal? Like muddy water cannot be strained through mud or purify a wine-stained pot with wine. You cannot purify a wine-stained pot with a wine. Now see, wine stained with wine, muddy water through mud. So in the same way, killing of men through sacrificing. Generally we say, na, a needle is used to, another thorn is used to remove the thorn. But here very clearly he says, muddy water cannot be removed from mud. And wine stain cannot be cleaned by wine. In the same way, killing of the men cannot be counteracted by killing the animals in the sacrifice. Okay. Kamalakshi Mataji, you read.
Hare Krishna Mataji, Tadopana. Text 52. Ida Pangena Pangambha Surayava Surakratam Bhutahatyam Tadaiva Evayegam Nayake Mushroom Arhadi. Translation purport by Srila Prabhupada. Srila Prabhupada teacher. Translation. As it is not possible to filter muddy water through mud or purify wine stained pot with wine, it is not possible to counteract the killing of men by sacrificing animals. Purport. Ashwamedha yajnas are Gomedha yajnas, sacrifices in which a horse or a bull is sacrificed, were not, of course, for the purpose of killing the animals. Lord Chaitanya said that such animals sacrificed on the altar of Yajna were rejuvenated and a new life was given to them. It was just to prove the efficacy of the hymns of the Vedas by recitation of the hymns of the Vedas in the proper way. Certainly, the performer gets relief from the reactions of sins. But in case of such sacrifices improperly done under the inexpert management, surely one has to become responsible for animal sacrifice. In this age of quarrel and hypocrisy, there is no possibility of performing the yajnas perfectly for want to expert brahmanas who are able to conduct such yajnas. Maharaja Yudhishthira therefore gives a hint to performing sacrifices in the age of Kali. In the Kali Yuga, the only sacrifice recommended is the performance of Harinama Yajna, inaugurated by Lord Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. But one should not indulge in animal killing and counteract it by performing the Harinama Yajna. Those who are devotees of the Lord never kill an animal for self-interest. And within bracket, as the Lord ordered Arjuna, they do not refrain from performing the duty of Satriya. The whole purpose, therefore, is served when everything is done for the will of the Lord. This is possible only for the devotee. Thus, in the Bhakti Vedanta purports of the first canto, 8th chapter of the Srimad Bhagavatam, entitled Prayers by Queen Kundi and Parikshit Sevar. Hare Krishna Mataji. Thank you, Mataji. And
So here the chapter ends. The whole purpose, therefore, is served when everything is done for the will of Lord. It is only possible for the devotees. But still here Yudhishthira is having doubt, still not pacified. So his doubt will be solved by Bhishma Pitama. Krishna wants Bhishma to speak. And in this way, Krishna wants to show to the whole world, Bhishma Pitamaha is a great devotee, though he is there on the side of the Kauravas. Okay. Any questions based on this, you can ask.
Yes,
So we'll
Mataji.
start with the 9th chapter next.
What are the pious activities performed by Duryodhan? He committed so many sins and still he was in heaven.
Yeah, for the pious activity he'll get now. He has taken care of the citizens. He has kept water for drinking. He has given food. Pious activity is always on the level of body. Bodily comforts, taking care of others' needs. They're all coming in the category of pious activities. He has taken
But
care of the citizens. Now he's committed sins also. For the
but
sins he is punished. For the sins he is punished. For taking care he will be awarded. Both will be given by Lord. But devotee, anyhow, they're all Parshadas taking part in Krishna's Leela. So naturally they are not killed. They are not just ordinary people. And Pandavas are eternal Parshadas. So for Pandavas, actually there is no sin. But still, Lord shows, let us go through the hell also and see. They are not sinful. They did not get the punishment, but they could see how many people are there in the hell. So when they pass through hell and heaven, they are not experiencing that yatana, sharira, all those things they did not experience. They pass, they see how many people are sitting in the hell and getting punished. How many people are there in the heaven and getting the merits. Okay. Any other doubt?
Mataji, Hare Krishna.
Yeah.
Mataji, Hare Krishna. I'm just contemplating. They are Panchapandav, they were like Mahabhagavat, and they are, repenting like this. So what I should do in Kali
And
Yuga?
break our head. They have repented by the words, we'll break our head and then. But one who is surrendered to his spiritual master, he has nothing to worry. Whether it is Arjuna repenting or Vishnu repenting, the only solution is how much good faith you have with your spiritual master and how your spiritual master guides you by the words of Shastra. That's more important.
Thank you so
Okay.
much. Thank you.
Mataji, yes. Hare Krishna Mataji.
Yeah.
Mataji, someone has asked me in the Kurukshetra was 64 crore warriors are dead. How this calculation asked me, and I told him I don't
They
know
also
answer.
have now who all took part. So all the how many were there in the other side? They all have the count now. Akshohini
Mataji, in
Senas.
this
How many
48
Akshohini Senas were there? Main is how many Akshohini Senas were there. Everything is recorded. They're all
Mataji,
more
now
sharper.
X48, The Akshoni, one Akshoni is given, Mataji. I calculate
One. Just one.
one.
Like that, so many.
I calculate 18 Akshonis, Mataji.
Yes.
11 for Kaurav and 7 in Pandava.
What?
Hmm.
There were innumerable
Yeah.
Akshwini Senas. Not just
Hmm.
18. Innumerable. There was Narayani Sena, na? It was Narayani Sena, Lord Sena. And Lord Sena is not limited. Lord is unlimited.
Okay.
We'll stop here. Mancha Param Vishakapa Sindhu Deva Chapatkanam Pavani Vaishnavi